This is the biggest person to ever play football, and legend has it he was actually good. But before we get into his story, let's take a look at the other big men who have played the sport.
Traore extends the box. Oh, are you kidding me again? And Peter Crouch! Oh my goodness me! What a goal!
Football, the sport which anybody can play. No matter the color of your skin, no matter how old you are, no matter where in the world you're from, if a football is dropped at your feet, you already know what to do. That's why it's the people's game, the beautiful game. And this is why even giants play football too, apparently. When you see a big man running around with smaller guys, using his physique to hold them off, you immediately think, this guy is in the wrong sport. Especially if they play like Adebayor Akifenwa. This 6'1" tall giant carried his massive 103 kilogram frame around English football for 23 years. And he wasn't just a fatty. The only thing he loves more than football is the gym. This man benches twice his body weight, casually. His journey to football stardom wasn't easy though. Adebayo was always a big child. You could spot him from a mile away in a group of kids. And as a London boy, he grew up with football all around him. Here's a quick fun fact for you. Did you know the city of London has the most football clubs in the world? There are over 300 clubs in the capital city of England. 17 of those teams are professional teams, which also means that it has the most clubs playing league football. You can't walk through a neighborhood in London without seeing a football pitch, park, or even stadium. That's how much of a hold football has on that city. Now, here's a funny fact. Not one of the over 300 clubs in London moved Adebayo. Not even Arsenal, the biggest club in North London, where he was born. He grew up supporting Liverpool, a club that's almost 400 kilometers away from central London. Why? Because of a certain John Barnes. Adebayor loved the man. He wanted to be like him. And so, he poured his all into football. He got so good that nobody could stop him from playing. They'd see him and go, oh, he's too big. He won't be able to move right. And then, bam, a wicked shot or an incredible pass. Everyone had to give him his props. But there was a problem. He could never find a professional team to take a chance on him. One coach from his amateur days even told him, look, Bayo, you've got the skills, I'll give you that, but you're just too big to play football. Some even suggested he'd take up rugby or even sign up with the WWF to be a wrestler. Bayo didn't allow it to get to him though. He kept pushing until he got so good that they could not ignore him. Watford, one of the clubs in London, took a chance on him, and the rest, as they say, is history. Adebayor Akifenwa is now happily retired, pushing beast mode on, the brand he built off his strongman persona while he played professional football and analyzing football on television. He lives a pretty cool life, and everyone will always remember him as the strongest player on the FIFA video games, a record he held for 15 straight years.
I get gassed over stuff like that.
It's amazing.
I look at it and I'm like...
At 96 kilograms and standing at 6'5", the next guy is almost as impressive as Adebayo, taller even. But for an Asian, he was considered a freak. Remember Yao Ming, the 8-foot giant from China who was like the tallest man in all of Asia, who went on to become a big basketball star in the NBA? Kim Shin-wook is the football version of that guy, but from South Korea. Asians are not commonly known to be tall. 5'5" is the average height for most Asians. So when you're 6'5", you'll stand out in the Asian community for sure, literally. This was the life of Shin-wook, who was always the biggest kid growing up. He stood out like a sore thumb. He was even bullied a little for not being like the other kids. But when he started showing considerable talent for sports, the respect came. Shin-wook loved football, and he gave his all to the sport. His routine was simple. School, home, the football pitch. Nothing else mattered. Schools flocked around him to give him sports scholarships, and he won quite a few trophies playing for his high school and university team. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that their high school and university sports are really big in Asia? Many stars are made at the local high school soccer leagues, baseball leagues, basketball leagues, and volleyball leagues, even tennis leagues. This is where Shin-wook shone. The giant defensive midfielder who nobody could get past. After university, he signed with Ulsan Hyundai in South Korea. The coaches loved him, but they thought he would do more damage as a striker than a DM. And that was how Kim Shin-wook became a striker. For 11 years, he represented the South Korean national team, playing 56 games where he scored 16 goals. He may not have the star power of Son Heung-min, but he'll be an inspiration to the bigger kids in South Korea and East Asia. If he was a goalkeeper like Christoph van Hout, maybe he could have won a lot more trophies than he did in his career. But then again, being a goalkeeper is just one of the jobs in football. He may not have won many trophies, but one thing Van Hout's teammates can say is that the man delivered. Standing at a massive 6 foot 10 inches tall and weighing 110 kilograms, Van Hout was a fearsome goalkeeper. No striker could deal with him. He would just stretch his arms to claim crosses and only jump to intimidate everyone. And he went to the ground very easily because, as a goalkeeper, the ability to deal with low shots makes you elite. If Van Hout was in the NBA, he probably could have given LeBron James a run for his money, because he is much bigger and taller than King. His coaches took sticking the biggest kid in goal to the limit with him. He was a literal cheat code. Thibaut Courtois' opponents definitely feel the same way, because the 6'6" giant is slowly becoming one of the best goalkeepers in history. He is so good that he has played for the best clubs in the world. Atletico de Madrid, Chelsea, Real Madrid, everywhere he's gone, people have known. Apart from him always sticking out because of his massive frame, he is so difficult to get past. Now, Van Hout was an anomaly at 6'10", but when he reached high balls, it wasn't much of a surprise. At 6'6", Courtois is no small man either, but his leap is so powerful and high that he'd probably scale a pole vault without the pole. And if you're a striker in his way, sorry to you when his full 96-kilogram frame lands on you after he claims a high ball or makes a brilliant save after a massive dive. Sad that goalkeepers can't win the Ballon d'Or. At least they can win medals, and the biggest player to ever play the sport always flaunted his. William Falk. At 6'10", near 160-kilogram giant of a man who was football's first superstar. Who wouldn't he be when he played 2 sports and was an absolute beast in both of them? But that was just one of the reasons he was football's first star. Right from time, football had always been the sport for small men. Then came Fatty Falk, with his amazing skills on the ball and incredible agility. The crazy thing is that football was just a hobby for the man. However, in the early days of football, we're talking 1880s to 1890s, teams knew that if they could get a player who was just bigger, they would dominate. When Sheffield United players found him playing in a local competition for his village, they immediately got their team to bring him in. They stuck him in the goal with his 6'10" frame. He was so intimidating that strikers were afraid to shoot the ball. Fans began to call him Fatty to insult him and kill his morale, and when he kept goal for Sheffield United. Then he made the name his own and started introducing himself with it. He was such a lovable guy to be around, and his presence brought in many fans to the sport. People wanted to see how a massive man who weighed almost 160 kilograms was so agile. When he jumped for high balls, people were afraid he would land and crush the strikers, but he was so agile. Sheffield United won many titles with him in Falk and would be seen wearing his medals everywhere like a proud kid with a shiny toy. And here's another fun fact for you. Did you know that he was Chelsea's first goalkeeper? Chelsea was formed around 1905, and immediately they paid the whopping sum of £50 to sign him. That's the equivalent to around £8,000 in today's money. There was a lot of money at that time. Nobody but Fatty Falk could have brought in such an amount. Chelsea historians even say he's one of the best goalkeepers the club ever had, and the biggest player football has ever seen. And they had Thibaut Courtois and Peter Cech. I wonder how it would have been like if he played in this day and age. Imagine William coming out to face Messi or Ronaldo in a 1 versus 1. Oh boy. Do you think they could have gotten past this giant of a man? Comment below. Talking about how he got so big, I'm surprised Messi didn't actually get too big based on how he eats. Oh, you don't know what Messi's insane diet is actually like? Click on the video on the screen now to see what Messi actually ate during one of the darkest times in his career.